Welcome back to Pensive Podcast. This is the second part of my interview with Patrick. I hope you enjoy. Thinking about community, because community is like one of also like my core values. And I wanted to ask, because we're not that different in age.
No,
it's
no.
like 4 years.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it feels like such a gulf to me.
Really?
It feels like such a gap.
You said I'm old. Sorry.
I feel like you're more experienced in life. I think that's what it is. And I wanted to ask, in our 4-year gap,
What, like that 4-year wisdom?
4 years, that 4 years of wisdom that I need to know immediately. Is there anything, that you would say, I mean, to a 20-year-old you or something?
Yeah.
What kind of shift have you experienced in your values? What have you come to appreciate more, value more? What's fallen to the wayside?
Oh, okay. I don't know what I told my 20-year-old self, because I kind of feel like, in many ways, I am the same person, but I've just the experiences that I went through to get to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go back and tell my 20-year-old version to be like to not do that. Because I think all of the experiences, the good and the bad, have shaped me into who I am now.
Is there anything that you think you overthought, or maybe like along the way you appreciate it, but you've really like uncovered it now, like of as a value or something that you really hold dear to yourself?
I don't know. I feel like I'm quite consistent.
Okay, that's good.
But no, let me just sit with it for a second, because
Yeah.
I'm sure there's things that I have changed, or things that I've learned.
Yeah. I can give you some of my values as inspiration.
Okay, cool.
So for me, something that I've recently, I've always wanted to be an artist, and I've always just kind of put it on the vision board as like, that's a thing I want to do, but not actually like made a conscious effort in order to like do for myself.
Yeah.
But now recently I've come to appreciate, obviously, like the value of creativity in me living my life as how I feel I should live it. And I think it's kind of strange, because we're saying like, creativity is like, if you're a human, you're creative. But I really am claiming like the label of artist, as opposed to just like being creative. And the value of art informing my lived experience is something that I've come to like truly value for myself.
Yeah.
And not being afraid to call myself an artist has become really important to me. And kind of moving past the idea that like having a big like project or work that I've created, like it hasn't appeared yet, but just because that hasn't happened doesn't mean that it won't happen for me.
Yeah.
And to always like engage with art and go to museums and art galleries and things like that, and make sure that I'm living my life and reading poetry and supporting other art. Like that's something that I've come to like really value for myself.
You actually triggered thought now.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of similar to what you were saying. I think in my late 20s, so after I came back from Brazil and I got back into UK living, in a way I feel like I lost an element of my creativity and sense of imagination and curiosity, because I just got very engrossed in work, or just kind of, it's not like I became like super like I'm just about work, but I just fell into a routine of just like going to work, hoping to save up enough money so I can go on holiday, and I maybe I was kind of living my life on autopilot a little bit. Perhaps it was a sort of coping mechanism for like moving back to the UK when I didn't really feel like I wanted to be back. So I think I would just kind of encourage my younger self to not let go of the things that you enjoyed doing. Because I stopped playing music as well. But like it was just kind of like, oh, I work now, I don't have time for that anymore. So I think I would just tell my younger self like, no, don't take those things for granted. Because even though right now you don't feel like you need it, after a few years, you're going to be so like at your wit's end, because you're so uninspired from just working every day, and that you're going to, be begging to go back to it. So I started playing music again at the end of last year. I joined an orchestra again. And it was because I'd literally just like, I was at breaking point. I was like, I am so bored. Like I was bored currently at the time at work, but just like in general, I was like, I need some sort of creative outlet. So I think I would kind of stress the importance of, like, I always knew that creativity is important, but to never take it for granted. Don't just kind of stop doing things that you enjoyed, creative things that you enjoyed, because of some sort of perceived lack of time, you can always make time for things and prioritize them. So yeah, I think that would be like the main advice. Like, hang on to those things that really brought you joy, you know?
Yeah. I think as well what you said that a lot of people think is like, I don't need this. Like, I don't need creativity. It's not like I need food or I need air. It's like, but just because it's not like, you think it's not helping you function, but it is. Like,
It is,
it
yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
It is it's not just a desire. Like, for a lot of us, it is a need to live a whole, lived full life.
Yeah. And I would say creativity, but also just like physical activity as well. Like, even if you don't fancy yourself as someone that can, you know, do cool creative things or whatever, just having some sort of activity that gives you a purpose, but also can grant you a sense of community as well. Whether that's like a run club or, you know, amateur acting classes, right? Literally anything. Try it all. That's the other thing I would tell my younger self as well. Like, really just try everything, you know? Especially while you're young, while you don't have too many responsibilities.
Yeah.
I feel like I did that to quite a good extent, but I'd still encourage them to do more of that. But yeah, like, to everyone, just that thing that seems like kind of random but you're curious about it, just try it. Just do it. At least you can say you've done it.
Yeah, and you never know what avenues you're going to open up. Like, that random time I tried bookbinding.
Yeah, I remember
and now,
that.
Yeah, I'm just like, now I can make books.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, if someone's birthday is coming around and I don't know what to do, I'm like, let me just grab some paper. But it's also like, this bookbinding for me has opened up my arts because I realize, like I said before, like, when I read other people's words and it forms my experience. And when I make books, I feel like I'm creating not only a piece of art, but like a medium for myself in which I can create further art, kind of thing. So you never know what that random evening class is gonna bring you.
For sure. And yeah, the way that I kind of see my own creativity, like, there are certain, like the podcasting for me, that kind of sort of open up various different avenues and doors to more things that I want to try my hand at. I think creativity is something that is like it's kind of not, maybe contagious isn't the word, but like it inspires you to try new things, you know?
Yeah, it opens doors to other things. Yeah, on the subject of the podcast, because you are part of this, it's called Over the Bridge. This is a promo. And so what was the reason? Because you started it when you were in Cambridge with 2 other people.
In the very beginning, there were 5 of us, so it was 4 other guys. And then the first person to drop out, he basically just didn't come to the first recording. And then it was 4 of us. And then, the first episode was just sort of talking about our experiences, sort of frank and honest experiences.
About at uni.
Being at Cambridge University as Black and mixed race guys, what it was like, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that stuff. And I think the first episode we were just kind of assessing whether, if we had the opportunity to do Cambridge again, would we do it? And we all said yes, but like with caveats.
Yeah. I think that's most people's uni experiences. Like, I would do it, but like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. I need some kind of like preparation or like warning.
6 months off in between each semester or something.
It was really well received. And so we kind of ended up doing more episodes about, I think people really appreciated the way we addressed certain topics, the way that we were able to address kind of perhaps more intellectually stimulating topics, but in a very laid back way. So our podcasts were actually kind of a lot like this, like just very relaxed. 4 of us knew each other. We knew each other very, very well. So it was just like 4 guys just hanging out and just diving in deep to things pertaining to like masculinity, identity, class, race. And then we started to get guests on.
Yeah, you had Stormzy.
Yeah, we had Stormzy. We had Stormzy on there. I feel like he's, perhaps the most well-known, but we had a lot of amazing guests that would basically, like, we never kind of considered ourselves experts in any of the things that we talked about. We just knew that we liked to talk about them. Yeah. So where there was kind of like a knowledge gap, we'd get a guest to come in and just provide their more expert opinion. It just kind of went from strength to strength. And it's been going now. Well, we took like a little bit of a hiatus sort of during the lockdown and everything, but then we got back together. So our first episode came out in 2018, and we're in 2025 now.
Yeah.
So
what was the like motivation behind restarting it? Was it just you stopped it because of the lockdown, or was there like a need for like this voice again?
Yeah, I think it was that. Like, I feel like lockdown became a bit of an obstacle in, like, you know, recording and stuff. But we were recording remotely. But I think, you know, life just kind of happened, and then maybe we kind of felt like we didn't really have much to say. Like, we had kind of said everything for the time being. And then, yeah, when that impetus came, I think it was because, you know, we were just sort of seeing things happen and just felt, you know, it was time to, you know, lend our voice again to make sense of the madness.
Yeah. I think as well, like when I started this podcast, I was really trying to think like, what's the reason for adding my voice to the cacophony?
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we're on the same page as like, if we talk and we can kind of not cut through the noise, but at least amplify what we want to say. Maybe other people just want to listen, because there's noise for everybody. There's a voice for everybody. So maybe there's people out there that want to or need or want to listen to this kind of conversation. Because I really struggled with like the idea of starting a podcast myself. I was like,
I mean, especially like being a guy, like the
guy with the mic.
Like we've definitely seen like podcasting PR, male podcasting PR in the mud, and rightly so. I think it's really important to take podcasting seriously. I don't want to be like, you know, like a killjoy or whatever, party people, but because podcasting should be fun, but also you should take responsibility for the platform that you have and the power that you have with a mic, and the power that you inevitably have in influencing other people's opinions. I think it's really important to take that seriously and respect podcasting. It's not just this thing that you can just get on and just start chatting rubbish, and be very, very responsible for the things that you put out there. You know, you don't want to like, you know, everybody produces stuff, or everyone can produce things. Like everybody has, like, we've democratized this whole thing of broadcasting. So you don't want to.
Literally about to use those words. Thank you.
Cool. I always find it really difficult to use democratize. Though. Like, it's a weird word to get your tongue on. But you don't want to pollute. You don't want to be pumping out rubbish. You know, respect the medium and be responsible with it.
Yeah. Like you said, well, we've already taken the words out of my mouth about democratizing the platform, which is a good thing, because it means like, you know, you and me can have a voice.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I go think about like the great thinkers of Greece, you know, when they had their like moments of speaking and what we've done with it, with the microphones, was like, like how far we've come.
Cheapened it.
We've cheapened it. And it's not to say like we have to go back and make it elitist or whatever. But there's something about allowing yourself space to actually give yourself voice. Because I think people, I don't know, like myself, just because there's so much, I don't want to overdo it and give more to it. But no, we have to be able to say like, no, if they can have the space, I can also have the space to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
but just be responsible with it. That's my
like gambling.
Podcast responsibility.
Podcast responsibility.
When the fun stops, stop.
Oh my god. So what have been some of the highlights of doing your podcast?
Highlights? Yeah, quite a few.
You had a show?
Yeah, we've had a few live shows now.
Oh.
Yeah, so we've done live shows. Those have been great. I love doing live shows because you just have that instant like interaction from your listeners, from your audience. We have won British Podcast Awards, or at least like a bronze. So we came third, but that's an award. I'm counting that. And we did like a live show at one of the British Podcast Award ceremonies, I guess. Been on the news a couple of times as well.
Been on the radio.
Been on the radio as well. BBC London. But like, again, with what I was talking about with like being creative, like all of these things that are like nice things.
Like accolades.
Yeah, they're kind of secondary to me. The most important thing for me was like being authentic with with who we were on the podcast. And like, when we set out to record and we're sort of thinking about like what we want to do with it, one of the things that we were really interested in was kind of encouraging and inspiring the generation that came up behind us. So like just getting people that looked like us, that had similar life experiences, you know, whether they were black, mixed race, like, you know, they come from London,
Yeah.
further afield, but anyone that could kind of like identify with who we were as people, just encouraging them to kind of feel like, you know, they could see themselves also at like a university like Cambridge. Like it wasn't like this space that only certain people should have access to. And I feel like what we set out to achieve, we achieved that. Like we have gone back to Cambridge since. I've done like kind of panels and stuff like that with students or prospective students. And we'd ask them, you know, put up your hand if you've heard of Over the Bridge podcast. And like there would be loads of hands in the room.
God.
You know, like people literally would say to us, you know, I applied to Cambridge like because, you know, after listening to your podcast, like it really like pushed me to want to apply here. I wasn't thinking about applying here before because I just couldn't see myself here. So that for me that's the reward. Yeah, that was the biggest sense of satisfaction by miles. All the other stuff like is cool, you know, but like my thinking is with anything, just be authentic to yourself. If people vibe with it, they vibe with it. If they don't, they don't. But like once you start making things for other people, you're losing a sense of yourself. You're losing your authenticity. Yeah. So I think with anything, like you do want to make cool stuff or appealing things, but the authenticity and truthfulness to yourself is the most important thing.
Is there anything else you would want to lend your voice to? Because obviously you've like talked about Cambridge and your experiences and stuff, but are there any other topics you feel like you would want to talk about?
I can talk for days about anything, to be honest.
Anything.
Yeah, I spend a lot of my time, and it sounds really like stupid, but I spend a lot of my time just thinking. Like
That's not stupid at all. That's
but like
not.
no, but it sounds like a really like, oh, this guy thinks he's smart. So he thinks a lot. No, like I'm always my brain doesn't rest. Which is good and bad. But I'm always like analyzing things, trying to understand the world that we live in, why things are the way they are, why people behave the way they do. And for me, a lot of that comes down to an understanding of history. I think history is like a really, really important subject. Yeah. It's not just dates and famous people. It's understanding human behavior and patterns of human behavior. And it is really informative for where we are in the present. So I think as human beings, we have a tendency to believe that things are the way they are because they've always been that way. Whereas in most cases, that's not the case. And understanding why things are the way they are, it's really important to like have that understanding of history. So for example, like diamond engagement rings, right? Yeah. People think that like...
It's always been that way.
Yeah, and it's a very, very recent thing.
Marketing ploy.
Yeah, it was a marketing ploy from I think like the 1930s. De Beers, I think, was one of the main proponents. De Beers, they're diamond miners and jewelers. And I think, they were one of the main proponents of this idea that, you know, to propose to a woman, you need to propose with a diamond engagement ring. And now it's just become this thing that everybody does. But it's a very, very recent thing. So having an understanding of why things are the way they are is really, really important, because then it really helps you to understand where we have the potential of going if we allow things to just kind of run on autopilot, which I think we have not learned that lesson well enough.
No, we have not. No, we have not. We continue to do stupid things.
Exactly. So, why am I talking about history? Because you were asking me, like, what else would I like to lend my voice to? So many different things. I really love music. So I am working on a new podcast at the moment that's to do with music, but that's as much as I'm going to talk about. But like, I just love talking about things and just like considering things a bit more than, you know, just a kind of 5-minute like conversation or, you know, like I like to go into like the deeper aspects of any kind of discussion or conversation. So,
This is kind of related in like a meme way to what you said about thinking, but there was a clip of FK Twigs recently at a panel for I don't know what, and she's sitting there and so she just goes, "So where are the thinkers?"
That's such a good impression as well.
No, I didn't do the lisp. I didn't do the I left out the lisp. It's like, but I feel like there's always been great thinkers, you know?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Mm.
And I was like, yes, you are wrong. Like, what are you talking about?
No, I kind of see it though.
But she was like, oh, we're just regurgitators.
But I feel like we're in danger of becoming that.
I feel like you could open a book. Like, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
mean? No, I hear that. But I feel like that kind of aspect of our society and culture is becoming less and less of a thing.
I think now you have to actively search for people who are thinking. Because recently I went to, I think it was, the Barbican. I went to see Slavoj Žižek. He's a great thinker.
Yeah,
you know, he actively thinks very insane things and says them out loud. And everyone's like, clutching pearls kind of thing.
Yeah.
But again, you would have to like seek him out, read his books. You know, there's a podcast that I also listen to that's Bella Freud, who's like the great-granddaughter of Sigmund Freud, or just great-granddaughter. But she invites a lot of like authors and thinkers and writers and, you know, people, you know, like that don't immediately appear on podcasts. She had Kate Moss. You wouldn't think like, oh, she's just a Bono. No, she's got something to say. Like everyone has something to say, I think. Yeah,
I don't know. I wonder if we're in an era of rampant anti-intellectualism. I'm kind of scared that we are. But then after hearing what you're saying, I'm like, I'm not sure if it is. Maybe there has always been anti-intellectualism.
Yeah. I think it's just more prevalent because of TikTok. It's just like, it's right there and you can see it.
Yeah. If anything, it's perhaps become more appealing than ever before to be anti-intellectual. Like it's just easier.
Yeah, no, absolutely it's easier.
Yeah, maybe because of, you know, like social media. And I think we have kind of a tendency now to try and really simplify the world that we live in into like really like black and white and absolutes and whatever else, rather than seeing the nuance that exists. And perhaps that's because of like we have more and more of a globalized culture now. So as culture becomes more and more globalized and homogenous, it's like it's getting harder and harder for us to really see the nuance in between things. And I feel like where there's nuance, there's discussion, and there's more of an intellectual approach.
Yeah, and allowing for differences as well.
Yeah.
I don't think we allow for differences of opinions. And, you know, I've always thought like, I don't mind being wrong, you know, because if I have to back up my opinion, I have to think about it. I have to form construct an argument. And if I can't back that up, then maybe something in there I have to change.
Yeah, you have to address.
And then, and then that's how we progress. It's like you don't progress by, okay, we all agree on this, because that's where you just remain forever.
Yeah.
Like, how can we make advancements if we're all just agreeing on everything?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I feel like a lot of it is to do with globalization and
simplification.
Yeah, simplification. I think also we have gotten to a stage in this late stage capitalism now where we are actually fighting for our lives, but we don't realize that we are. It's very bizarre. I'll explain. So like say 30, 40 years ago, and I'm 100% stealing this. This is not something that I came up with, but in this, I mean, it's kind of ironic, but in this reel that I was looking at on Instagram, the person was saying that 30, 40 years ago, the things that we considered to be luxury items were very, very expensive. So like TVs and like in the early days of mobile phones and like nice kind of things to have, right?
Yeah.
But to like the necessities, so like housing and things like that, they were a lot more accessible. Now what we have is a culture or a society where that's been flipped on its head.
Yeah.
So the things that we actually need to survive are insanely expensive.
Yeah.
The kind of cool gadgets and like luxury items, those things are now relatively a lot cheaper. So it's also kind of why, you know, like when boomers are always like, oh, you know, you don't have a house, but you've got like a flat. Like, you know, when like they get on to like
why are you eating avocados?
Yeah, but like, yeah, stuff like that. And like, you know, when they're talking about working class people, that they're signing off benefits, but they got a flat screen TV.
Yeah.
I kind of understand now why there is this like weird like fixation with that, because 30 to 40 years ago, it was really, really expensive, relatively speaking, to own like a luxury TV compared to being able to afford rent or being able to afford a mortgage, you know? So we're fighting for our lives.
Yeah.
So we're kind of doing this weird self-medicating thing of doom scrolling and numbing ourselves to the horrors that are happening in the world, because we're also consuming that as well.
Yeah.
All of it is this kind of escape, a kind of numbing of quite a horrible reality that we find ourselves in now. But it's gotten to the point where we don't actually realize that we're suffering, which is the worst thing. You know, like I always find a way to talk about The Matrix anytime I talk to anyone.
The film?
It's
the best.
It is. But I'm not just bringing this up randomly. But like in The Matrix, they don't know that they're in these in the real world. They're in these capsules, and they're actually not living the life that they think that they're living. So the artifice of The Matrix keeps them occupied and entertained so much they don't even realize that they're just living in these little capsules and just being used as batteries, used as some form of energy, which is kind of where we find ourselves now. We have all these like fun distractions, and like, you know, you have the Met Gala. I mean, I like the creativity of the Met Gala, but then you have the Met Gala and then, but at the same time, there's this genocide going on. And it's like, but let's focus on the Met Gala. And, you know, so it's like, we're kind of living in a kind of dream world, kind of a fantasy world. Perhaps that's why we're unable to have like these more kind of nuanced and intellectual discussions, because our mind is being numbed and distracted by these kind of frivolous things.
Even for myself, like I try so hard to like engage with, I guess, intellectual stimulants, but I always find myself like, what's the easiest yappy YouTube video I can watch right now? Because I just want to hear blah 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 blah. Very like second screen kind of thing. It's just been made so easy. Like even I watched some podcast where Netflix, their critique to some shows is like, it's not second screen enough, you know? It's like,
that's so mad.
So it's like, you are a media service and you want to provide media that's not media. I don't understand that.
That's where we are though, isn't it?
But so openly, just I don't even have a comment. It's just like a complete fear.
The whole kind of thing of like doom scrolling and everyone just kind of accepting that this is what we do, but it's like, where do we go from here? You know?
It's like, what's the antidote of that? And like we've been talking about creativity, and I think what's great is like acknowledging that there is some kind of human element, and if we just do it, like things will be okay for us, well, as individuals anyway. I can't speak on what we can do as like a community to like improve. Honestly, like I will take any advice from anyone. If there's anything I can do to improve any situation of the horrors that we're going through, I will do my best to do it. If I can lend my voice or whatever. It feels so suffocating. It feels so much bigger than what can I do? It feels quite a lot. So.
But I think that the first thing that came to mind when you were sort of talking about that was just like this idea of creativity for creativity's sake. Because we were talking earlier on about how there's kind of this association with being creative and being an entrepreneur, which is just good. People need to make money, but I think it's really important to get back to just doing things for the sake of doing them. Not to, increase your social media following, not to find brand deals or just do it because it is something that brings joy. It's something that we can do collaboratively, we can do in community. It reminds us that we are human, that we're not just here to make money or to improve our social standing or, my kind of, advice, whether you want to take it or not, but I think it's just really important to be creative just for being creative's sake. creativity for creativity's sake.
Yeah, I think that's a lesson that I've learned recently, which is quite mad, actually,
Yeah.
to do things for yourself.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of my friends, they would say, like, I want to do this thing. What Instagram username should I pick? That's like the first thing. It's like, what's going to fit my branding?
Yeah.
What should I do?
Yeah.
It's like, well, make the work
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
And then if you want to launch an Instagram account, you can. But it's not the goal, is it? But that's what we've been told, is like, fit it in this tiny little square and hope someone clicks on it and then forgets about it 2 seconds later.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
But yeah, just do that thing for yourself. And as we were talking about this off camera, like, if you want an audience, that audience eventually will find you, but just do the authentic thing for yourself.
Yeah.
And if people vibe with it, they do. But I think it's really important to kind of make it authentically you first.
I think it's so strange that that's such like a radical thing to say, is like doing something for yourself. Like, how have we got to the stage where everything is for an audience? But even, I don't know, thinking about artistry and creativity for an audience, because there's two views of it, and I think it's Albert Camus who's like, you have to do it with the audience in mind. And I think if I ever did that like audience first approach, then I would never make anything.
Yeah. You can't please everyone.
You can't please everyone. And like, I already know what they want, and it's not what I want to give them. And it's only when I remove the audience from my mind, and I removed kind of like the fear of, if I do this, then I'm going to be ostracized. That's when I got rid of that. I was like, I can actually make what I want to make now.
Yeah.
And it's the matter.
And don't you think though, like the most kind of inspired minds, most creative people, they make stuff that audiences don't even know that they want yet.
Yeah.
So like Kendrick Lamar for me is a good example, right? The first time, at least for me, but I think this is quite a common thing. The first time you hear like a Kendrick Lamar album, especially like the one most recently, To Pimp a Butterfly, was like that as well. It was like nothing that had been done before. Or at least it was something. It was an evolution of something that people weren't expecting. So at first, people didn't really know how to approach it.
Yeah.
But that's what a tastemaker does.
Yeah.
You know, a tastemaker isn't someone that just kind of follows what audiences want. They give them something and they're like, no, this is actually what you want.
Yeah.
This is new. This hasn't been done before. And I think, that to me is what true kind of inspiration and visionary artistry looks like.
Yeah. It's really hard to be an original.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And I think the most we can all do is like understand and appreciate our references and where we came from.
Yeah.
And then put a little bit of ourselves on it. And that's what makes it original.
Exactly. I think, it's hard to be an original, but the easiest way to do that is just to draw inspiration from this, because everybody has their own unique perspective on this human experience that we call life, right? So, like you said, it's not easy to be original, but I think the easiest way to do that is to just kind of do what you've been inspired to do. Do it your own way. Don't try and, like, you can take inspiration from other people, but only you have that perspective, you know?
Yeah.
And if people vibe with it, they do. If they don't, at least you can say, look, I did this. This is me. This is 100% me, you know?
Is that something that motivates you? Just like the feeling of, I don't know, inspiring other people, or just like, is there like some kind of intrinsic inspiration within yourself or motivation?
Yeah, I think for me, I have always felt like I've got something to say. Whether people want to listen or not, that's up to them. But I will say what I need to say.
Yeah, that's great. Like, a lot of people have blocks and masks and stuff.
I mean, no, we all have those kind of creative blocks or kind of mental blocks. And that's why, like I said, with the podcast, we kind of took a bit of a break because we just felt like we didn't have anything to say for a little while anymore. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I will say what I feel like has been placed on my heart to say. Whether that's been said before or not, fair enough. But I think everybody has a very unique perspective. Everyone should really consider whether, what they have to say is, worthwhile sharing,
Yeah, a lot of people skip that part.
Yeah. And I don't want to restrict people because like I said, I will say what I need to say. People vibe with it, they do. If they don't, they don't. yeah, I think it's important to like see what's out there already. You know, people always say before you write, you should read.
Yeah.
You know, so be careful that you're not regurgitating something that's been said before. So it's really important to listen. To have moments of just kind of, I'm going to absorb, I'm going to listen, or I'm going to read. And then when you feel like, you know, you have something original to say or something important to say, then say it. I know I talk a lot, but actually I prefer, especially when I'm meeting people for the first time, I'm actually not that chatty. I'm not that talkative, or like, let's say like I'm in a big group of people.
Yeah.
I prefer to just kind of listen first and then decide whether I have anything worthwhile to contribute.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I think that's just like the marker of like an intellectual person.
Oh, thanks, Chloé. Intellectual person.
Yeah, because you're not there to just talk over people. You're like, that's like a call and response thing, you know. It's like, I will step in when I need to,
but
and I'm appreciating you and your space.
That's where you learn, when you shut up. No, for real though, like that's where you learn. That's where you actually. It's good to share, but also it's good to kind of
to listen.
to listen, to take things on board, because we don't know everything.
Yeah,
no one knows everything, and you can always learn from anyone.
Yeah,
that's one of the things that I learned. One of the most important lessons that I learned from traveling.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter where you go or who you meet, whatever their life experiences are. Whether they're formally educated or then informally educated or whatever, you can always learn from someone or their lived experience. So yeah, that's where learning happens, when you shut up and just you know, absorb.
And that's the end of this podcast. I wanted to ask, because I know, I mean, you touched briefly on like film, but I also know that you do photography. Photography and film, I feel like, are quite intertwined.
Yep.
But also, there's obviously podcasting and talking. What's your like favorite way, I guess, to like share it and connect with people?
That's a good question. I know my most preferred medium is the thing that I'm working towards. So with filmmaking, I feel like that medium is my next frontier, and I feel like I will be able to say the things that I want to say most efficiently and most poignantly through film.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen whether I'll be good at it, but I'm going to give it a good go.
Just try.
Yeah, I feel like I'll be good at it. But yeah, I've not had any like formal like filmmaking education or anything like that.
Do you think that holds you back?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. But it is definitely something that I think about. I try to learn as much as possible, just kind of from hearing directors speak, watching film, watching kind of video essays about films and stuff. Like I just try to absorb as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I think if I do have the means one day to like go to a film school or something like that, I'd love to do that. But yeah, I think film for me is like, I feel like that's where I'll really be able to kind of explore and also articulate the things that are like rattling around in my head. Because it's just kind of like it's a combination of all the things that I think are, to me anyway, really powerful ways to communicate. So when I think about film, I think about the visual element to it, but also the importance of words. But just sort of going back to the visual element to it, there is so much that can be said without words, you know, through body language, through expressions. And then we get to music and sound, how music can communicate a sense or a feeling, again, without using words.
Yeah.
All of these things I feel are really, really powerful in capturing the human experience. Yeah, translating that to anybody that wants to bear witness to it. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is the beauty of photography.
Yeah.
I think we as human beings, we love beauty. And I think when you share any kind of message, whether it's, you know, verbal or visual, it tends to remain with us more when there's an element of beauty or elegance to it, or maybe not necessarily beauty in a kind of in a conventional way,
Yeah.
but something that is memorable, something
Yeah.
that causes you to see the world in a way that you've not considered before, not
Do you
done
have
so
like
before.
an example of that for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's been on my mind today. A photographer, a Brazilian photographer who just passed away, I believe, yesterday, Sebastião Salgado.
Mm-hmm.
Just everybody that's watching this, just go and look at his stuff. I went to Photo London at Somerset House last week. His photos were there. I got to see some of his photos, like
Yeah.
prints of his photos, like in the flesh, which is better than looking at it on a little screen.
Yeah.
But his photography is just kind of, it's breathtaking. He had a very strong heart for indigeneity, so indigenous people, especially the indigenous people of Brazil, but also traveling to just run like disparate parts of the world and just like learning from the people that he kept. Like for me, his approach to life is like, that's kind of what I really aspire to be like. Just kind of.
So it's not just the work; it's like him as a figure.
His kind of interest in people and the world. So in his photography, the two main protagonists are people, humans, but also nature, and how they intertwine, how they interact. So he was a conservationist, I'd say, as well. He had a heart for the environment and the importance of looking after it. But his photography just allowed you to just sort of see the world. And I think pretty much all of his photography was also in black and white as well. So he would just create these incredible visions, whether it's of, people just living day-to-day lives, but lives that are very different from ours.
Yeah.
For example, these incredible landscapes that almost seem alien because of how the approach that he took to like taking these images of these landscapes that are just so different to what we've experienced. So like his work, it's like you literally go through this experience of like traveling through space, but also through time as well. Like sometimes it feels like you've like gone back to some sort of prehistoric time on planet Earth. So yeah, he is, when I think of like people that allow you to see the world in a different way, he is definitely one of them. Like everybody, I encourage you to go and look at his work. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing, like very personal thing for you that you can relate to, but also just like, I think there's a commonality, maybe for me as well. Whenever I see a work that's timeless and it takes me out of my situation, Chloe's having her issues over here, but as soon as I see, for me, it's always Tim Walker. Like everyone makes fun of me. But I love the kookiness and the wackiness and like Alice in Wonderland, like, that kind of thing. It's like, it takes me to another place that I can step into. And I think that's what you're talking about. It's like, it's not just the earth and nature, but it's the whole world. It's everything at once.
Yeah, I think with his photography as well, it's like this amazing combination of escapism, but also being grounded. Like his work grounds you. Like it reminds you, like, we are part of this world. We owe everything to nature. We owe our existence to nature. We're part of nature, but also like he transports you to these amazing places. So it's like you're escaping your everyday lived reality, but it's like bringing you back to a more grounded reality.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like the society that we live in today, it has this unique ability of taking us away from our natural essence as human beings. This fixation with, I mean, it's for survival, but like this fixation with, making money, and we talk about like, we have this beautiful world, but here we are paying taxes, and but like all of these things, I think, really take us away from what it is to be human.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons I love his photography so much is that it allows us to escape, but brings us back home. So yeah.
That's really lovely.
Oh, thanks, Chloe.
I always find it really difficult, especially like when I'm doing podcasts, to explain why I like something.
Yeah.
I was editing one of them and I was trying to explain why I liked books, and I was just like, it's like It's good.
It's just
It's like,
it's good and
it's
stuff.
good. Read it. Bell hooks is great. You know?
Yeah.
So I feel like we've talked about like what you love and your hobbies and going here and traveling and doing this, just bringing it back to earth. How are you thinking and doing all of this at once? I just feel like it's a lot because I see you as a very like active person.
Yeah.
Always, like I said, just active, like doing things.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people struggle with time and making time for themselves and their hobbies and traveling and themselves and all of this. Is there a way that you kind of just manage yourself, or is it just very much you just go with the flow kind of thing?
Man, yeah. Honestly, I don't know. And I don't know if I'm the best person to ask for advice for something like that, because I can't really, I need to get better at managing my time, I think. But then I wonder, like, what is the impetus or motivation behind that?
I think a lot of it is excuses, like I don't have time to do all the things you're saying and learn all the things and like appreciate all the things. Like I'm so overwhelmed kind of thing.
Yeah, and to be honest, I get overwhelmed a lot by all of the different things that are swirling around in my brain, all of the things that I want to do. Like there's so many random things that I want to do. Like, did I tell you that I want to live on a ranch for like 6 to 12 months to learn how to look after horses? Did I ever tell you that?
No, but recently I did Google, is it legal to live in a cave? So I understand.
I think it's legal, right?
It's not.
What?
You have to own the cave. You have to own the cave.
But what do you mean you like?
Because I was thinking like I could just move into a cave.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
But I guess
like
there's a lot.
property laws on caves.
But I guess maybe in the UK there's like most land is owned by someone or something.
I know, but it's a cave.
Yeah. Maybe in another country you can just go and live in a cave. I'm pretty sure you can in another country.
I want to. But yeah, please continue.
But yeah, there's just so many different things that I want to do. I feel like I'm coming up to my mid-30s now and I've lived so many different lives, and I just intend to continue living loads of different lives, you know?
Yeah.
I won't lie, sometimes it is a little bit overwhelming, but I think that's just how my brain is.
Yeah.
I think one of my struggles is just kind of like locking into a specific thing and just focusing on that for a little while. I tend to be a bit like all over the place, but it's something that I'm working on. So yeah, I don't really know what advice I can give. I would say just spend less time doing the things that don't bring you joy. Like,
that's great.
Limit that as much as possible.
Yeah.
I don't want to advocate for people slacking off work and stuff like that, or maybe I do. I don't know.
I think everybody should.
But I would say, you know, like don't work overtime if you're not getting paid. Like just
don't waste your time.
Yeah, if it doesn't bring you joy, it's different if you know you love your job and you know it gives you kind of a sense of fulfillment. Then do it. But I think just in general, limit as much as you can within reason. But like as much as you can, the things that don't bring you joy.
If it doesn't spark joy.
Yeah. I know life isn't always about enjoyment, and there's things that we have to do, duty and, you know, responsibility. All of those things are important.
Yeah.
But I would say if you're gonna have a strong sense of responsibility and kind of like duty to something, let it be to people, let it be to community, let it be to the people that you love.
Yeah.
And not shareholders.
Yeah, no.
Not faceless corporations, you know? Don't be a cog in the machine.
Yeah.
Be someone that pours life into someone else, into
where
community.
do you, because we've been talking a lot about community, but where do you fit into all of that?
Good question. That's a very convicting question, Chloé. In different things, I try to be, as a friend, I try to be as available to my friends as possible. I'm not perfect though. Like I'm very kind of, I can kind of not disappear, but I kind of retreat within myself for a while because my brain has so many things going on. Sometimes I just actually need to just be calm. But the way that I show love, I think, to my friends and my family is just offering myself to help, acts of service.
Yeah.
Like that's a love language, I think, for many people romantically, but I think for me, it's like a love language
Yeah.
platonically, like it's just something that I like to do to show people that I care about them.
Mm-hmm.
I try my best to be a good ear to give advice. And that's me pouring into like my immediate circle, like my friends and my family. But I think there is a responsibility that all of us have to wider community as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to do little things here and there. I volunteer sometimes. My cousin does this food bank thing for his church where he basically does a food run,
Mm-hmm.
gathers the food so that they have something for the food. But things like that,
Yeah.
I need to do more things like that, I think.
Yeah.
There's definitely more I can do. If I'm going to spend my time doing things that are, that require a lot of energy or can exhaust me, I'd much rather be spending my time doing things like that than other stuff where it's just like
Mm-hmm.
working or
Yeah.
making money for
Yeah.
people that don't even know you exist. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think it's definitely something that personally I want to work on more. But yeah, I don't want to be that person that doesn't practice what they preach.
Sure, yeah.
But at the same time, I think I'm quite like self-critical as well. So there are definitely like other things that I do, more things that I do.
I feel like you're talking about showing up a lot for other people.
Mm.
And I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I need this quiet time for myself.
Mm.
And I don't know, just now it felt like you're like, oh, I can't do that because I need to be there, even though my brain's doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if there's like some kind of balance to be had between that, because I'm really not ashamed to be like, no,
Yeah,
I can't. Not that I won't be there for someone, but I understand like what's going on in here just needs to be taken care of for a bit and to retreat right now.
I think it's really important to be in a good place mentally, physically, emotionally. Therapy is good.
Mm-hmm. Therapy's great.
Yeah, like I think it's good to be in a good place so that you can help others. They always say like on an airplane, always put on your oxygen mask before helping others. I think that's a principle that, we can maybe abide by.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, life is not always that straightforward. Sometimes you're just going through it, and sometimes you do just need to stand in the gap for friends or family, even though you're not in the best place. I think it's really important to just be kind to yourself as well.
Do you ever relax?
Yeah, I'm so good at relaxing.
This is like my thoughts going like, I'm pretty sure Pat relaxes, but I'm just not hearing it.
I'm the best at relaxing. I don't know anybody that relaxes better than I do. Genuinely, like
What's that like Caribbean word, liming?
Yeah, liming.
Are you like a prime limer?
I am a prime limer.
Oh my God.
I love like. You may watch this and think that
He's always doing stuff.
I'm not. Like sometimes I'm just doing nothing and I love it. Like my brain doesn't really tend to slow down.
Right. Okay.
But I like just doing nothing and just and sitting with myself and just kind of just doing whatever I feel like. I do that quite a lot. But I think also a lot of the things that brings me enjoyment, like for example, watching a video essay about a film that I've watched 10 times. Mm-hmm. That to me is relaxing. Like for other people, maybe it's not, but that is something that, just allows me just to be in my own little world. And yeah, there's other times where I'm literally just doing nothing. Like I'm just lying in bed, listening to the birds outside.
Yeah.
I like playing tennis. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a very active thing, but it brings me a lot of calm. It brings me a lot of relaxation because when I'm playing tennis, I'm just thinking about tennis. So it's like the one time my brain is actually able to just like focus on one thing, which is nice. But what I was going to say before you asked me whether I relax or not was, how you spend your time and use up what you use your energy for. Mm-hmm. And yeah, different things I think will kind of build up your sort of internal battery compared to other people. Yeah. So for some people, certain things will maybe drain them, but that same thing,
like after this, I'm gonna have a healthy nap. This has been so much talking for me. Like my days are spent in silence.
Okay,
with myself,
Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time in silence as well. I do. It may not seem that way, but yeah. But I think I really love good conversation.
Right. Yeah.
You know what tires me?
Yeah.
Like mindless conversation.
Small talk.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, small talk I think has an important function in life, in culture and society. But I get really exhausted by conversations that don't stimulate me. And this is again going back to what I was saying just now. Some things, they build people's energy up and other things drain them. Some people actually just like not having to delve into deep topics and talk about it. Like that for them is like where their happy place is. And who am I to judge?
Yeah.
For me, I prefer to have conversations like this. Yeah, I don't have this kind of like feeling of low social battery after this conversation.
Okay.
But like if I was out and people just talking about, random stuff and like after a while, I get a bit tired.
Yeah. No, I understand. I don't need this. For me, just talking, I'm like, sleep. Something that you've said over and over that I really appreciate is just like, I'm just going to do what I want.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, that annoys them. Like,
really?
Because I think the way I've lived my life up to this point is people call me stubborn. I never understood that until now. For me, it's just like, no, I understand what I need to do with my life and I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Just in the way that I look and like just the way I live my life. And I just don't really...
My biggest pet peeve is when sounds bad, but when I take advice from someone, right? And then that advice ends up being bad advice.
Oh.
Not because I think my opinion is like more elevated than theirs, but I'd rather, if I make a mistake, I'd rather it be my own mistake.
Yeah.
Because then I've learned from something myself.
Yeah.
Rather than like, I think maybe I worded it wrong. I don't like taking advice from someone and I don't really like, I'm like, I don't think I should do that.
Yeah.
And then I do it
anyway.
Yeah. And then it goes wrong.
Yeah.
I'd much rather just like, if I'm going to make a mistake, I'd much rather it be on my own terms than following someone. So yeah, I get that. That thing of like, I'm just going to do it my own way. It's good to take advice from people. It's good to learn from their experiences. But you have to kind of tally it with your own experiences. You can't invalidate your own experiences and what you know.
Even if it doesn't make sense to them. I think that's the main thing is like a lot of stuff that I've done, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So I just have to carry that forward and know that I've just got to do what I've got to do.
Yeah. And like, I know that I'm going to mess up or I'm going to make mistakes or I'm going to do something that, doesn't go how I expected it to go. But I'd much rather that do things on my own terms and learn, because I think it's easier to learn that way as well. When you learn from something that you've set in your mind to do rather than following the advice of someone who you're like, nah, I don't know if I really want to do that. And then you do it and then,
And then it flops.
Yeah. So, make the mistakes on your own terms.
I like that. And just to wrap up, is there anything else, like any words of wisdom you want to share for people who are a bit afraid to take control of their daily life or don't want to be the creative of their own life?
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, words of wisdom. I mean, you've shared
Was
quite
the last
a lot.
hour not enough, Chloé?
It's like 2 hours. I need
How
more.
How greedy. No. Any kind of final words?
Yeah.
Yeah. Life is a gift. Don't waste it on doing things that don't bring you joy. Yeah. Appreciate what you have. You only get it once.
Yeah.
That thing that you want to do, but you're worried that people might judge you for it or you don't know how, just do it.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody else live your life for you.
That's beautiful.
Mic drop. Okay.
Yay. Yeah, I think that's where we'll wrap it up. This was a really very insightful conversation for myself personally.
Oh.
No one else needs to see this. This is going to go in the bank just for me.
Okay.
I'm joking.
Keep this one.
This is for me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yay. Yeah. Every time I do this, I gain so much wisdom from people. Like, people have so many great things to share.
Yeah.
And like you said, I just sit here and I listen.
That's how it should be, man.
I feel like I've become a better person for it. So I hope that everyone else listening takes away all the wisdom that you've shared here today. So thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to promote? I know you don't have your new music podcast right now, but maybe
it's all in the works. But yeah, check out the podcast that I'm on, Over the Bridge podcast. Me and the guys. We've done some great content over the years. And yeah, just watch this space. Hold me accountable. Because there's all these things that I said that I want to do. So yeah. Hold me accountable. Okay. Watch this space. There are more things coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it really.
Okay, and I'll link all relevant social media things.
Yeah, you can follow. I mean, my Instagram is just it's just a very personal Instagram.
Yeah.
It's just a regular
It's just a
regular
regular
Instagram.
It's got pictures on it.
Yeah, some of like you mentioned that I'm into photography.
Mm-hmm.
I've sort of just gotten back into it again. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, let me go back to the things I enjoy doing. So
Yeah.
I've just gotten back into film photography. So yeah, some of my photos are on there. Yeah, and then just like regular like Instagram stuff, like here's me at a restaurant, here's me on holiday. You know, like
I'm with a friend.
Yeah, so yeah, for now my Instagram is just me. Yeah, you can link it. Why not?
Okay, then. That's it from me as well. So if you would like to hear more from the Pensive podcast, please subscribe. I always forget the word because there's like follow, likes, shares. I don't know. Click the button.
Yeah, click that button.
Click the button. Click the like button as well. I don't know. It does something.
Yeah, like every little helps.
I'm Tesco.
Yeah.
Every little helps. Follow on Substack, where I also write like thinky pieces, and Instagram, where I post little reels and stuff. Again, I'm not great at selling myself, but please follow because it's cool.
Yeah, this is I love this podcast, man. Come on.
Yay! So yeah, thank you so much for listening and or watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.